Hallo und herzlich willkommen zurück zu einer weiteren Folge Chaos at Noah. Beim letzten Mal hat uns ja Senna gestellt, weil wir ja offenbar das Blumenbeet unter Eiersee hervorgerufen haben, was ja nicht natürlich ist. Und jetzt sind wir dabei, uns über das Erdbeben zu informieren, welches stattgefunden hat. Seismic Intensity 5 in Shiba, lots of fatalities. Staged Editor. You guys think this earthquake was caused by... What the hell? What the hell? Wait, what? Jesus Christ, how are they all so uncaring assholes? I tried to think back to what had happened during the earthquake. First, I'd been hit by a tremendous impact. My head had felt like it was boiling, exploding, even a sensation I had never experienced before. Getting hit by something that bad, dying from shock wouldn't be all that surprising. Telling myself that I shouldn't stick to just the internet, I decided to watch some news on TV as well. My PC had a TV tuner attached to it, so that was why I didn't have no need an actual TV.
現在までに死者118名、重軽傷者300名以上と非常に多くの犠牲者が出ていることが分かっています。さて、渋谷の駅前と中継がつながったようです。島谷さん、現地の様子はいかがですか
？2005年に同じように震度5の地震が東京であったんですよ。その時はゼロで、なぜ今回は100名以上の被害者が出ているんですか？
被害者の数は震度に比例するわけじゃないんです。そこには様々な要因がありまして、亡くなった方の死因や病院に運ばれた負傷者の容体については未だ詳しい情報が入っておりません。また渋谷区を中心に磁気メディアが全壊してしまっていることについて今日は専門家にお越しいただいております。
地質学産業研究所より林原泰造先生、財団法人地質調査環境センターより小沢幹人先生にお越しいただきました。
林原さん、今回の地震について磁気メディアに深刻な被害が出た原因というのはどういうところにあるんでしょうか？
まず知っておいていただきたいのは、渋谷区あたりの地下200メートル付近には磁鉄鉱、つまり天然の磁石が多く埋蔵されている地層があるということですね。地層の分類としては火成岩層ですが、私たちはこのエリアを磁鉄鉱の谷、マグネタイトバレーと呼んでいます。地中にある磁石の谷ですね。文字通りかなり大規模な岩脈なんですよ。ここにですね、今回の地震のような大きな刺激が加わったとするならば、その影響で地上に存在する磁生態、主に磁気メディアの持つ記録部に、致命的なダメージを与えてもおかしくはないんです。
何をバカな。
小沢先生は別の意見ですか？
確かに渋谷の地下には巨大なマグネタイトの岩脈があることは事実です。ですが磁石と呼ぶにはあまりにも微弱なこのマグネタイト群にはですね、地上の磁気モーメントや安定磁場を崩すほどの力はないというのが通説になっています。実際ですね、過去にも震度5の地震は何度も発生しています。過去のそれらの地震では今回のような被害はなかった。なので原因は別にあるのではないかと考えるのが妥当だと思います。
そうは言うがね、今回の異常な犠牲者数についてはただの地震では片付けられない何かがあるのが事実なわけであり、渋谷にいた人のほとんどが頭痛がしたって訴えていることからも間違いなく磁鉄鉱が関係している可能性が。
磁場ごときで100人も殺せると主張するおつもりですか？それではここで CM です。
Bitchfight. Bitchfight.
結局詳しいことは何も分からずか。
Yep. Right after the earthquake, there had been a huge white mist floating above Shibuya. It had turned the sky completely white, and yet it hadn't even been mentioned on the news. When the information had been fresh, everyone made sure to report on that. But now they were acting like it had never happened. Something about it just felt wrong. The off-hours entrance to HAH Tokyo General Hospital featured an area where ambulances could pull up alongside the building in order to deliver emergency patients. 2 ambulances were currently parked there, and paramedics were carrying those injured during the earthquake into the hospital. A doctor wearing light green surgical scrubs and the middle-aged head nurse accompanying him were loudly directing the paramedics through the process. The area around the off-hours entrance was already lined with patients waiting to receive treatment, and the sheer number of which indicated how busy the doctors truly were. There were 2 types of patients getting carried into the hospital. First, the ones suffering from physical trauma, patients who would come with blood flowing from their arms and legs and foreheads, their faces contorted in pain, where the state made them difficult to look upon. The treatment had been relegated to a lower priority. The other type was those who were unconscious. Despite showing no signs of physical trauma, these patients were prioritized. The number of unconscious people was awfully high among the emergency patients brought in from this particular earthquake. Such a high number had not been observed following the previous major earthquakes. It was an entirely new phenomenon. Moreover, the doctors were unable to explain the reason why so many of them had fallen unconscious. Another ambulance arrived at the hospital, its siren blaring loudly. When the emergency responders disembarked from the ambulance, the doctor asked the patient's condition, and the paramedic immediately responded with, "That was all it took." In a normal situation, the doctor would have protested, asked for more information. In such an unprecedented, chaotic situation, one would have expected that just shouting top priority would be answered by a sufficient "you don't say." And yet, surprisingly, both the doctor and the head nurse merely gave a light nod, then proceeded to help upload the stretcher from the ambulance. The person lying on the stretcher was Kishimoto Ayase. She was unconscious, yet faint. Moans escaped her lips. Paying no mind to the resentful gazes of the injured patients sitting around the entrance, the doctor and paramedics hurriedly carried the stretcher inside the hospital. A girl stood at the hospital's main entrance, observing the situation from a distance. Sakiata Rimi's eyebrows furrowed atop her stern expression. Her teeth sink into her lip. Obviously, I was concerned about the earthquake, but Shogun was way more of an issue to me. I couldn't get him out of my head. And speaking of, my headache was more or less gone, but anxiety had already swooped right on in to replace it, as did the depression that came with being alone. I still hadn't heard from Rimi. I tried to call her myself, but I had gone straight to voicemail. Up until now, Rimi had always come dashing in to rescue me, to tell me everything would be fine. So of all days for her not to do that, why today? Hadn't she told me that she would always stay by my side? I gritted my teeth, and then, as a way to escape my anxiety, I decided to focus entirely on reconfiguring my PC. First things first, I needed to fix the settings on my email software. It had been forever since I had first set it up, so I couldn't remember how exactly to do it. So the first thing I had to do was find the instruction manual that had been included with the email software provided by my ISP. Despite not putting in much actual physical work, I found myself drenched in sweat. I had nearly given up out of frustration multiple times throughout the process. It had ended up eating a full hour of my time, half of which was spent trying to find the damn manual, just to recover my email address. Well, now that I had it back, I should check it right away. Okay. Whose eyes are those eyes from Nanami? My husband cheated on me von Ruriko? What the fuck? Way to fuck a sexy college age lolly Quinzo. Urgent applicants near 20 positions open. I had a great time last night. You have gifted an honorary deposit. Wee! I'm hopeless. Okay. Das scheint mir sehr, sehr viel Trash dabei zu sein. Ah, I could finally hear that voice again. I felt so relieved, all that pain and suffering had all been worth it. Aber von Nanami, I had 8 new mails, out of which were Spam. Also, du sagst, Nanami ist auch Spam? Okay, sind 8. Actually, hidden among the spam was an email with a strange subject line and an even stranger sender. I groaned reflexively. What the hell? Was Nanami trying to prank me? If she was, then it was a pretty shitty thing to do. I genuinely wanted to punch her in the face. No, wait a minute. There was no reason for me to get an email from Nanami. She had never contacted me using my computer's email address before. She had always just texted me on my phone, like she had earlier. And not only that, but I had never even given her my email address. Was it just a coincidence, a fluke? Nanami was a common first name after all. And the phrase "whose eyes are those eyes" had become so popular pretty much everyone was using it. There was nothing strange. Also, das Nanami, nicht Nagisa. Woher habe ich da Nagisa? Egal. There was nothing strange about it being used as a subject for a spam email. But just to soothe my anxiety, I decided to check the contents.
結構な長文だな。さっきはチャットで話ができて楽しかったよ。ちなみに送信者の名前はダミー。僕の名前は将軍だよ。え？
Shogun? No, it couldn't be.
将軍が僕のメアド知ってるはずが。
Wait, what if Shogun had read my mind? If he had done that, figuring out my email address would be child's play.
嘘でしょ。
I'm glad Aya's son is safe. I initially planned to paint her as the next victim of Neo-Gen, but suicide works too. You outdone yourself, Takumi-kun. You've got a new high score. But enough about that stuff. Let's talk about Nishijo Nanami-chan. The two of... what the heck? So I'd love to see some juicy drama unfold between you two. Ever since the earthquake hit, Shibuya has been pretty bloodthirsty. Though we can reach a conclusion so touching, it will blast all the way in an instant. That's up to you. As I read the email, seeing how friendly he was acting toward me only served to creep me out even more. This guy, he was insane. Why would he? It's really hard to clear quest unarmed, isn't it? You are a hero, so you don't feel... or don't you feel this? I know you do, so I hope you're looking forward to what I got in store for you. At 9 PM tonight, I want you to come to the roof of O Front. You're gonna be on TV, so make sure you put a heroic tunic now. Then he was talking about quests and high scores like this was some sort of game. P.S. before I forget, did you get my present?
僕は勇者なんかじゃない。ナイトハルトじゃない。
He was planning to finally kill me. I couldn't go. There was nowhere I could go. I wanted to run away. Rumi, I need you to protect me. Why wasn't she answering me when I tried to contact her? Maybe she had been injured in the earthquake. But back when I had seen Misumi-kun, he didn't mention anything happening to her. I picked up my phone and checked if I'd gotten any calls or text from Rumi. Rumi, where did you... Right as I thought that something stopped me. It was my text. At the top of the list I could see the text Nanami had sent me earlier. Was Nanami okay? I read Shogun's email again from top to the bottom. But enough about that stuff. Let's talk about Nishicho Nanami-chan. Now then, that's the question. Wait, what was that supposed to mean? Forget that. I should just call Nanami. I opened the address book on my phone. Only 3 numbers were registered there. Nanami is in the number from my parents' house. Nanami was always nagging me to call her. Every time we saw each other, she had bugged me about it. Well, since she had asked me so many times, I guess I could throw her a bone. So please answer. If you don't, I'm never calling you again. I swear to God, if you got injured during the earthquake and aren't answering because of it, I will never let you hear the end of it. I selected Nanami's numbers and pressed the call button. I put the phone to my ear. I heard nothing. The ringtone didn't start immediately. It was normal for my phone to take a second whenever I called with it. But right now, that 1 second of silence felt like an eternity. I was getting increasingly antsy.
早くしてよ。よし、繋がった。
Boah, was ist das für eine Mucke? What? That sound, what was it? Ow, I pulled my phone away from my ear. Oh, an unfamiliar melody echoed throughout the room. Could it be a ringtone? Gru's phone was ringing, but with the timing, what else could it be? I shook my head. I had never heard Nanami's ringtone, so there was no proof that the melody I was hearing was it. No proof at all. I was getting scared now. I pressed my phone back to my ear. Ich hatte gedacht, das kommt wesentlich später. Nanami still wasn't answering. Please pick up the phone already. Oh, she picked up.
Nanami でしょ。今どこにいるんだ。大丈夫なの。何か言って。ナナミ。
実は。
What's it? Something weird was going on. It was almost like I was hearing Nanami's not just through the phone, but from something really close by too.
一体どこにいるんだ。上。
My gaze wandered up, but something was moving on top of my bed. A person, someone was freaking around up there. And because of how little space they had, irregular cases crumbled on the floor as they did. Don't tell me.
ここにいるの。
見つかっちゃった。
Das dürfte aber eigentlich nicht real sein, bin ich der Meinung, was da gerade passiert. My guess had been right. He peeked out from the top of the bed with an apologetic look on her face. Had she just been hiding this whole time, but since when?
何が手だよ。それより車椅子の怪しいやつに会わなかったか。
As she got off the bed, examined her from the top to bottom to see if she was hurt or anything.
お兄、ちょっと落ち着いてってば。
聞いてるんだ。答えろよ。お前、本当に大丈夫なのか。
それって将軍のことだよね。
まさかあったのか。どこで何をされた。
I grabbed Nanami by the shoulders, desperately pressing her for an answer. Jesus Christ, yes, Nanami could be a huge brat, but if Shogun had defiled her, it would be all my fault. Shogun had put his hands on her as a means to provoke me. To him, she was just collateral damage. I was so ashamed. I started to cry. I was causing problems not just for myself, but for those around me. Harmless otaku my ass. I was a failure, not just as a brother, but as a human being. I was scum, completely and utter scum.
お兄、泣いてるの？もしかしてナナのことを心配してくれてる？
ごめん、僕のせいで。
泣かないでよ。困ったな。実はあの将軍のメール、ナナのいたずらなんだ。
Nope. I couldn't process what she had said. I was
つま
stunned.
り将軍って7だったの、最初からずっと。お兄があまりにも7の相手してくれないからちょっとからかうつもりでつい。だから
Ja,
ね、
nee, ist klar.
7は誰にも何にもされてないし全くピーピーしてるよ。お兄が泣くことなんてないの、わかった？
お前。
I was relieved. Upon learning that she had deceived me, the release of all my tension and fear made me cry even harder. I couldn't believe that she would do that to me, and I was pretty upset that she had been screwing with me for so long, but none of that mattered right now.
ふざけんなよ。
ごめん、本当にごめんね、お兄。差し入れ持ってきたからそれで許して。
She held her hands together as if in prayer as she had prayed, and then she cheerfully took out the paper box that had been hidden in the corner. Inside the box were 4 tiny cakes. 2 Mont Blanc and 2 cheesecakes.
どう？美味しそうでしょ？まあ当然だよね。ナナの手作りだもん。お兄のために作ったんだからね。ほら、一緒に食べよう。
Mary put the box on my desk, then placed 2 cakes on each on 2 different paper plates that she had set out. No idea where they had come from though.
ねえお兄、ナナのこと心配してくれてありがとう。すごく嬉しかった。お兄にもいいところあるじゃん。泣いちゃったのはちょっと情けなかったけどね。
Shut your mouth, you lying backstabbing bitch. Your pride had been torn to my pride had been torn to shreds. I'd been deceived, betrayed, and even ended up crying. I couldn't believe how pathetic I was, how stupid I was.
でもお兄がナナのお兄でよかった。
She smiled at me happily. It was a more peaceful sight than I was used to. How nice would it be if that was actually what happened? Jetzt kommt nämlich das. Yeah, that was nothing more than just an overly convenient, easy to swallow delusion of mine. Naomi stared and picked up, and the sound of someone's ringtone continued to echo throughout the room. The melody was a happy-go-lucky one, something that was in harsh contrast to my current state of mind. The sense of dread within me was growing. There was no getting around it. Naomi's phone was in this room. I couldn't think of any other explanation. I couldn't avert my eyes from reality anymore. P.S. Before I forget, did you get my present? This wasn't happening. It couldn't be. It didn't matter how much sense it made. It just couldn't be true. I slowly lowered the hand holding my phone. I couldn't even blink. My throat was dry as a desert. Even still, I searched for the source of the sound. This time I ever so slowly examined each and every object scattered throughout the room. I hated myself more than ever for not cleaning my room. If only I was more organized, I could have spotted where it was coming from immediately. Where the hell was it coming from? That box. The sound was coming from inside of it. It was the size of about 2 erogi cases. At first I had thought it was something I had bought online, but there was nothing printed on it. There wasn't a shipping label either. It was sealed with duct tape. Had this large box always been here? Had it fallen from the bed during the earthquake? It couldn't have. I had never seen it before. If it was something I had bought online, I would have opened it straight away. If it was something I had sold on and was shipping to someone else, I would have sent it off the moment I sealed it up. For a second I considered that maybe Nanami had dropped it off, but I couldn't remember her bringing a cardboard box of this size, which could only mean, during the hour I had been at school, someone had entered my base. I have a present for you. I hope it pleases you. My heart was beating out of my chest. In a panic, I went to check the lock on my door. A chill ran down my spine. Earlier in the day when I had wandered outside my base, I didn't remember locking the door, and I couldn't blame myself. At the time I'd been suffering from a stabbing headache, and I was really dizzy. When I had come back from school an hour later, I hadn't locked the doors on either. Anyone could have easily gotten in. Was it Shogun? Had Shogun really broken in? I looked at the box again. The song was still playing. Nanami's phone was in there. I nervously lifted the cardboard box. It was heavy. With how heavy it was, there was no way there was just a phone inside. It weighed about the same as 500 milliliters of soda. I was hesitant to open it. I had a very bad feeling about this. Kann ich irgendwie nachvollziehen. Aber wie gesagt, ich hatte eigentlich im Hinterkopf gehabt, dass das erst wesentlich später passiert. But there was something else. But there was nothing else I could do. I had to open it. I was too worried about Nanami. She was a total brat, but at the end of the day she was still my little sister. Nanami's phone was in the box. In other words, someone had taken her phone from her. Now then, let the quest to rescue Nanami begin. That had been in Shogun's email. I looked at the clock. It was already past 7:30 p.m. Nanami might be in danger. I had no choice but to open it. My heart refused to stop pounding. Large drops of sweat began trickling down my forehead. With a moan, I wiped away the sweat with the back of my hand, and then I slowly tore off the shoddily applied duct tape. Mumbling that like a prayer, I opened the box. Inside was a lump of aluminium foil, packed carefully with cushioning material. I peeked fearfully inside the box, but the button was nowhere to be seen. The song was coming from inside the foil. Sweat got in my eyes and it stung. Before I knew it, my entire body had gotten soaked in sweat. No, I can't do this anymore. Why me? Why does it have to be me? I nearly said those tearful complaints aloud. I pleaded with Seraton for comfort, but she didn't say anything. A myriad of delusions swirled within my head, so much so that it felt like it was on the verge of exploding. I couldn't even focus hard enough to have delusional conversation with Seraton. My mind was racing so fast I couldn't even think straight. And yet, despite the near shutdown of my brain, the happy-go-lucky melody from the phone kept assaulting me relentlessly. Having made up my mind, I pinched the edges of the aluminium foil with my fingers. Closed my eyes, held my breath, and tore off the aluminium foil in one go. I could hear the song even more clearly than before. I was too afraid to open my eyes. I tried as hard as I could to catch my breath, but to no avail. I was fine. It was fine. Everything was fine. There was nothing to be afraid of. It was just a harmless prank from Nanami. Just wait any second now. Nanami was gonna burst into the room with a big smile on her face, yelling, "Surprise, haha, I got you." Yeah, I was sure of it. There was no reason to even consider anything else. Once she did that, I would lay into her like never before. Then I would never talk to her ever again. Go on, Nanami, prove me right. I had to open my eyes. I couldn't keep staring at the darkness, and not looking at it was only making things worse. All it did was force me to imagine what horrors might be inside. I couldn't handle any more terrifying delusions. And so, I slowly opened my eyes and saw it. Lying in the foil was a hand. A cleanly severed slender hand. Grasped in that hand was a phone, identical to mine. And wrapped around its wrist was...
へえ、かわいいバングルじゃん。じゃあさ、これナナにちょうだい。
A yellow leather band that had turned crimson. A bangle. Und an dem Punkt beende ich jetzt diese Folge. Wie gesagt, ich bin eigentlich der Meinung, dass das erst wesentlich später kam. Da sind irgendwie Lücken drin in dem, was ich... Also eigentlich fehlt da aus meiner Sicht noch einiges am Plot. Vielleicht habe ich einfach nur die Reihenfolge der Sachen nicht mehr richtig im Kopf oder die ist anders im Anime. Kann auch sein. Aber ich war eigentlich der Meinung, dass das wesentlich später kommt erst. Aber na gut. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal. Ciao.